Today I'm going to be making the Crumbl cookie sugar cookie. It's the pink sugar cookie knockoff. We're going to do that recipe, and then at the end of the video we're going to be comparing these to the actual pink sugar cookie from Crumbl. So it'll be fun. So you have sugar cookie ingredients, and then you have frosting ingredients. For the sugar cookie ingredients themselves, you need 1 cup of butter, which is 2 sticks. You need 1 cup of sugar, 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, a ½ teaspoon of almond extract, which is clear and it's in this little dish right here, ½ teaspoon of that, 3 cups of all-purpose flour, and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And then for the almond icing, you're going to need, I have some powdered sugar already opened. I'm sure everybody has a bag like this. So you're gonna need, optional is the food coloring. So we have food coloring here to make the frosting pink. You're also gonna need 1 to 3 tablespoons of milk, which I have not laid out yet because we don't need that yet. You need 3 cups of powdered sugar, which I'll measure out when the time comes, 1 teaspoon almond extract, and a ½ cup of softened butter, which is 1 stick. You want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and then you want to line 2 baking sheets. You can use parchment paper. I'm using the Reynolds Kitchens cookie baking sheets, and you're gonna end up with 12 cookies. So we're gonna put 6 cookies per pan. In our mixer, we're going to cream together the butter and the sugar. We're going to scrape down the sides, and then we're going to add the egg and vanilla and mix it again. You also want to add the almond extract. We're going to scrape down the sides again, and then we're going to add our baking powder and all of our flour. And I'm going to be adding the flour a little bit at a time. Okay, they're saying take about 1/4 of a cup and form these into cookies, but I don't know how much that is. So I'm going to try to get my 12 cookies first, and then I will go back and I'll either add or subtract to get the right amount of cookies, and that way I'll know that I have the right size. And this is it's really nice dough. It's not incredibly sticky, and I know that first one I made was definitely smaller, but it's not incredibly sticky. So it's almost like a Play-Doh texture. So it's not like it's a big deal to go back and add more. And we have to flatten these down anyway. So I have my other pan right here. Okay, I should be able to get 1 more cookie, but I've made 1 too big, so I'm gonna take from some to make this last ball. Okay, so now I'm gonna form them together better. The recipe does say they will spread a little bit, so it says that's why they only put 6 per sheet. So now you have to press down, and you can use the bottom of a glass if you want to. If you want it to be flatter, I'm just choosing to use my fingers because I can get it pretty flat using my fingers. And these are gonna bake for 9 to 11 minutes. I'm gonna put mine in for 10 minutes, and then we'll be back. So here are my cookies. I ended up leaving them in for 12 minutes. So I left them in for 10 and they still looked underdone. And so I left them 1 more minute and then 1 more minute. So my total time ended up being 12 minutes. But now while these are cooling, we are going to start on our frosting. So we are going to cream our butter. And then once this has gotten fluffy, I'm going to be adding the powdered sugar and the almond extract. I want this to be creamy, so we want to add, it says anywhere between 1 and 3 tablespoons of milk, so I'm gonna add it a tablespoon at a time and we'll see how much we end up needing. I also want to, I'm seeing right now, I need to scrape this a little bit before I do that because there's powdered sugar on the top of my beater here, so I wanna make sure I get that all incorporated. I'm gonna add some food coloring and we'll, it says about 4 drops. That's 1 drop. So I'm gonna scrape my bowl down again because I want to make sure I get all of it pink. And that was 1 drop of my food coloring. So it's really gonna depend on the food coloring you get, that you use, how much you need to use. But start it like I did, do a drop at a time, because if I had started off with the 4 drops like they recommended, it would have been way too much. This is really, really thick too, and I don't know if I want it this thick or if I want to add a little bit more milk to it. Nice. I'm gonna stick with that. I could get it thinner, but I want it to be thick on my cookies so that it doesn't run off. And that 1 drop of that food coloring was plenty. To me, that's a really, really pretty pink color. Okay, so it said the directions say to frost these when they're still a little bit warm, because it gives them that finished feeling or finished look. And so mine are just barely warm. And this is really, really thick icing. I probably left it too thick. I could always add a little bit of milk to it though if I need to. Or maybe I need to just, maybe I need to frost them with a knife instead of a spoon. Crumbl cookie here, and I took pictures so you can see the differences at the end of the video. Mine are noticeably smaller than the Crumbl version. However, the recipe told me to make 12 cookies, and I made sure I made 12 cookies, because normally if I go wild and do what I want, then mine are going to be twice as big. Mine probably would have ended up being this size. But they did not spread like they said they would in the recipe, so I'm glad. You know, pretty much where you put them, that's where they grow, and they didn't spread at all. But and also it had told me to use like 4 drops of food coloring. Regular food coloring
probably would. Oh, gel?
Well,
because gel's very, very strong.
It says neon pink food coloring.
Yeah, food coloring doesn't go as far.
So we
it takes
use
a lot more.
gel.
We use gel, and you don't need a lot.
Right. So mine is like a Barbie pink.
But you know what?
And
I like yours. Yours is very festive.
I do too. I like mine too.
It's so, matter of fact, on the camera, what we can see, it looks like it's white.
Mine looks more like for a baby shower. And these are paler.
Yeah, it's very pretty pink.
So do you want to try theirs first?
Sure.
The color of the cookie itself looks about the same, though. So I'm impressed with that.
Yeah, theirs might have a little bit more of a yellowish brown kind of color, but it's pretty close.
This came from this recipe, Cooking with Carly, KARLI.com. And I will definitely link below so you can click on it, go there, print this out yourself, and try to make them if you want. It says Crumbl sugar cookies are soft and buttery cookies topped with a perfectly sweet almond icing. You are going to love this Copycat recipe. And it did not take me no time to make these. I mean, it's pretty much boom, 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 you're done. Okay, so here's the Crumbl.
Especially if you have a mixer.
The almond is the star of the show.
Oh yeah. You know what though? It's funny. I think this about every sugar cookie. It still has that. You can still taste the flour that goes into the cookie. It's just funny how sugar cookies are like that. I like it though.
The
and the almond is good.
The Crumbl version is a cool cookie. So like they've made them up beforehand or something and had them refrigerated or something. So it is a cooler cookie. So mine's going to be different. Mine's going to be room temperature now. But I do like that almond flavor. It's very, very nice.
I tell you that cutting into it, yours is very similar.
Good.
You've got that little darker spot in the middle where it's not quite baked fully.
That almond though, if you need to like almond to like that, because it's not like a Loft House cookie where it's just a flour and all that. That Loft House doesn't have almonds. You know, this has almond.
Sugar.
Okay.
It's just colored different colors.
Okay. I love the texture of that.
Your version is much softer. Like, I won't say doughy. It's a little more underdone than theirs is.
I think so too. Well, I think if mine were put in the refrigerator, mine would be firmer like theirs.
Yeah,
instead, mine are more crumbly cookie-like, soft.
The almond's similar. I don't think your almond, and I'm calling it yours, the ones you made. I don't think the almond lingers as long. Like when the Crumbl sugar cookie, you eat that and the almond kind of hangs around for a little bit. The homemade one doesn't quite linger. It's like you eat it and you taste it, but then it kind of goes away once you've eaten it.
I love this version.
I think it's good. Yeah, it's very good.
I definitely think that if you wanted to make these at home, you're gonna get the same flavors.
I think you could double the almond in the cookie itself.
Oh, see, I disagree.
You think it's strong enough?
I think it's strong.
See, I didn't get it really strong. Not compared to the Crumbl one.
I feel like it's stronger than you do.
Yeah, I didn't really get it as strong. No, it wasn't as strong as the Crumbl version.
It's not. It's not as strong as the Crumbl version. However, please don't double it when you make them because you're gonna eat almond. You have to use just a little bit.
Well, it wasn't a lot anyway, though. Was
it had a half a teaspoon in the mix and 1 teaspoon in the frosting. You could go for a whole teaspoon in the mix.
That's what I'm saying.
Instead of doing half, you could do a whole.
That's all I was saying.
Yeah, absolutely. You could do that. And then leave the amount in the frosting.
Yeah, I would not touch the frosting because the frosting's strong enough. It's just in the cookie itself, you really don't get a lot of almond.
Yes, I completely agree. If you do this recipe and you like a stronger almond, if you want it to be as strong as the Crumbl, I would go ahead and go for a whole teaspoon in the mix. But honestly, I wouldn't change anything else about the recipe.
No, it's good. Texture's good.
And I do think it's a good match.
pretty close.
It's very close. Yeah, I think if you do, like Kevin said, and go ahead and add 1 whole teaspoon for that mix, I think it's going to be even closer.
And what's neat is the sweetness level is about the same too.
Yeah.
So one's not necessarily sweeter than the other one. They're about the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this is a really good recipe. So you'll have to let me know if you try it. Of course, you can always jazz it up with sprinkles. You know, you could add little festive balls or the
Then it
rainbow
wouldn't be a
sprinkle.
crumble, though.
It wouldn't if you. But I'm saying if you don't care, if it's just like the crumble, you could always do more. You know, to make it your own. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll have a picture for you at the end. And thanks for watching.